Hello and welcome to Rated M. I am your host, TR. We have a great lineup for you today, and we're going to have Ruth Danessa with domestic and international tea and giving us the 411 news. We're going to have Inisa. Inisa is going to come to you with some thinkable stuff in reference to fruitful living. We're going to have the chorus, Tawana, who's going to keep it real with you. And don't forget, you got the one and only Miss TR that's going to give you beauty of awareness. So don't go nowhere. Get your tea, get your soda, get your coffee, sit back, relax, listen to us, view us, whatever how you want to do it. But we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere, guys. Rated M. Rated M for Mature is sponsored by SOUNDGUARD Events, Sound Systems, and AV Rentals. We have gear for all occasions. Contact Mr. Henry Gibson at 201-982-4957 or email him at dj00007@aol.com. Also sponsored by The Well Purified Water, located at 1120 Teaneck Road, Teaneck, New Jersey, 07666. For services, call 201-530-5847 or their website, www.thewellpurifiedwater.com, and tell them you heard it here on Rated M with GS Radio. Hi guys, I'm TR, your host. Welcome back to Rated M, and we got some cold weather down here in northern New Jersey. It's like about 17 degrees. They're talking about dropping down to 3. It is so cold to the point where you breathe, your chest hurts. That's how cold it is. But on that note, we're going to have some hot stuff to hopefully try to warm us up mentally anyway, if that's all it is mentally. But right now, we got Ruth Danessa, who's going to spill the tea with us with some great news with the domestic and international news. What you got for us?
Okay, so first I want to talk about Peter Liang. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that name. He was an officer back in November of 2014. He was in a dark staircase in a project in New York, and his gun went off. There's different versions of how it went off, and killed a man that was just coming home from work. Akai Gurley, he was 28 years old at that time when he was killed by Peter Liang's bullet. So he was found guilty this week of manslaughter. And one other thing is he was saying that his his finger was never on the trigger, and that they were just patrolling. It wasn't like a call for, they were just patrolling the housing, because housing.
And there was no lighting, right? There was no lighting in the staircase, to what I remember.
And the elevator was out, and that's why people were using the staircase, because there was no elevator.
And he was a rookie too, wasn't he?
He was a rookie, but I mean, part of the problem was that he started covering it up from the time it happened. So if it's an accident, accidents happen. But he started covering it up, and he was looking for the bullet instead of trying to get help for this person or trying to assist this person. He was trying to recover the bullet and we're more concerned about his job and losing his job
than the welfare of that person.
There was even a friend of Akai Gurley working on him, trying to give him CPR, trying to keep him alive, and this rookie was giving him no assistance at all. So there's a lot of concern, like the police commissioner saying, when it was a mistake, and now the police are afraid to even react, to even commit a mistake, because he might go to jail. Like, there's going to be some repercussions because of this verdict. And he faces up to 15 years in prison.
I think that he got more in trouble because of the lie, not so much because it was to my understanding, from me remembering, it was a dark staircase. It was in the projects. I forgot the name. It was Cherry something, wasn't it?
I forgot the name of the pink houses.
That's right. That's what it was called. I know it has something to do with
colors.
Colors. And it was an honest mistake, because the person was coming down the staircase. It was completely dark. The officer was going up, and it was an accident. I can understand that. But if you're going to lie, I think that's what happened. And not only did he lie to cover up his mistake, but he didn't show any type of compassion with his job to try to save that person's life. I think if he tried to save that person's life and didn't cover it up, it would have been a different story, and he probably would have got off on it. But being that he lied, and he was more interested in covering up his error, and on top of that, not trying to save that innocent person's life, is what screwed him.
Well, I think one of the things is, if you ever were trained with a gun, I was, and I'm sure he was, you should never put your finger in the trigger unless you're ready to pull it.
That's what I was told, that most officers says that the only time you put your hand on it, the trigger, is when you're ready to fire. Other than that, because you're scared. So it's
jittery.
Not jittery.
But they were saying also that the jury had an opportunity to hold the gun, the actual gun, and pull the trigger. Of course, it wasn't loaded. And at least for the police department, the New York Police Department, it has double safety. So it takes an 11-pound force. 11-pound force.
That's heavy.
To pull that trigger.
And then the kickback
all
on
of them
top
were
of
able
it.
to grab and pull and see, because there were some holdouts as to the verdict. And they passed the gun around, and that's what convinced them that this couldn't have been an quote-unquote accident or accidental, because it takes that combined effort of you and the...
That's kind of strength to do it.
Right. So that's why. And it's we hear a lot about police officer getting away with murder or So this is definitely something different, and it's gonna definitely have an effect on people. I think it's just a matter of, at the end of the day, whether it's a mistake or not, someone's not going home to their family. At the end of the day, and that's what you can't undo that. And what do you do after it's done? That's that. On another note, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia passed away this morning. He was 79 years old, and it's believed that he passed away from natural causes. He was the senior Supreme Court Justice that we have serving since 1986. Ronald Reagan was the one that appointed him back in 1986. And condolence to the families just happened this morning. And it's interesting because with this political climate that we're living in, either Obama or the next president is going to get to appoint the next Supreme Court justice. And the thing is that right now with Scalia, we had 5 conservative and 4 liberal or moderate. So now this person is going to tip one way or the other, the balance, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets chosen for that. I mean, it affects all of us.
It does.
When it comes to, our laws and the supreme laws of the country. So we need to be on top of that and stay informed. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I don't know. Well, maybe you guys should go to Iran. Iran has a ban any celebration of Valentine's Day. You guys don't sound too happy about it.
They banned it.
Yes.
They probably look at it as a pagan holiday.
Well, they see it as like a propaganda from the Western world. And you know how the East frowns upon the West because we're kind of, to them, promiscuous, among other things. So they have banned and they have warned the business and stuff not to allow any celebrations in their business.
So no candy, no cars,
no hearts or pink or red or
You're gonna have to do that behind closed doors and let nobody know, right?
Yeah, but they're saying how since we've been over there, the Western world has kind of sneak over there. They have McDonald's now, and they have so we're kind of oh. So they're trying to contain because they see us as heathen, pagan, and pagan,
and a lot of paganism. Yeah.
It just seems a little closed-minded because Valentine's Day, your mom can be your Valentine.
Yeah, but what is the origin of Valentine's? It's a Christian holiday.
From Valentine.
Yeah, it was and it was a massacre. He was still marrying people, even though where there was we were supposed to be marrying people. He believed in true love, and he was not following the law, so he became, a saint for love. So, well, for those of you who celebrate, happy Valentine's, and for you,
yes, happy Valentine's Day for those that celebrate, and for those that don't. Okay, and happy Valentine's Day to the single people. Hey.
I just think it's a money-making thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I
don't have no Valentine anyway. Oh, well, I do. I have my daughter. I have my great-grandson. I have my grandchildren, and they always give me a little something. To show
even on
love.
Valentine's, they only eat one piece of the candy out the whole box. The one with the caramel in the inside. That's it. I don't really care for the other kind.
Well, you get those hearts that you get from your kids from the
mine.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about the kind that they get from the drugstore. It's okay for the kids to give you that. Your man give you that. That's some nasty tasting candy, and then you sit there and you push the middle to see what kind it is, so you don't make no mistake in getting the nasty one. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. Just happy Valentine's and stay informed. It's
happy
important.
Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you. I don't really celebrate.
Oh, okay.
I don't care for that stuff.
Okay.
It's a man-made money-making thing, but
that it is.
Enjoy every day.
Enjoy every day. But for those who are celebrating it, happy Valentine's Day. Okay, we'll be right back with Rated M, and we have Inisa coming up with Fruitful Living. We'll see you in a second. Rated M.
This segment is sponsored by MK Images, Capture Your Expression for Life, located at 70 Spruce Street, Paterson, New Jersey, 3rd floor. For service, call 862-239-9875 or send an email to gs.wkdr@gmail.com. Tell them you heard it here at Rated M for Mature. This is broadcasted on GS Radio.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rated M for Mature. I am your host, TR. Now, who we got coming up next is Inisa with Fruitful Living, and her subject is celibacy. Okay, let's hear it.
So, celibacy, what is it? What is the point? And should we do it? So, celibacy is a gift of singleness for a time. And it's when one chooses not to have sex while they're single for religious reasons. Celibacy is usually for religious reasons. In Christianity, sex outside of marriage is called adultery. So that's literally one of the commandments. I looked it up again last night. It's been a while since I read the 10 Commandments, and it's just plain and simple, like 6 words. Do not commit adultery. Or that's like 4. That's it, as simple as that. So committing adultery is a sin against God, and he commands us to wait until we are married. If we're called to be married, not everybody wants to get married. Not everyone is called to be married. So celibacy can be a gift of singleness for the rest of your life or just for a time until you meet that person. What is the point? What is the point of celibacy? The point of celibacy is to remain consecrated to God until you're given to that person or that person comes find you, your significant other. So in 1 Corinthians 6 says, whoever sins sexually against their own body, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Many people's argument for sex is, it's my body. I can do what I want with it. Technically, no, you're renting it. It's not your own body. We were all brought at a price. We all belong to God. Whether you believe in him or not, we belong to the Creator because he created us. So your body is a vessel for his spirit within you. Should we do it? A cool fact that I didn't know this, I found out on gotquestions.org. When two people are intimate with each other, the hypothalamus of the brain releases chemicals that induce feelings of attachment or trust. So when you develop these feelings for someone who you have no plans in making a long-term relationship with, that trust in your brain starts to deteriorate. And the definition of trust starts to deteriorate, and separating from what God has called us to do makes us easier for us to tear away from him. So I didn't know about that. It's more than, of course you feel that connection after you have sex with someone, but it's a real connection that you're messing up for yourself when you just play with sex with another human being. So 1, celibacy is committing to singleness until marriage or forever. That depends on the individual. What is the point? To obey God and honor God with your body. And 3, should we do it? I say yes. For those of my Facebook friends, I didn't put up if I was celibate or not. Now you know. If you didn't, you should have. I am celibate, and the reason why is there is too much of a risk when you don't wait. Not to say that I am not a virgin. I'm not. But, this is the part where I get to tell my story. When I was a little girl, I said to my mom, because I felt like we had this sex talk early because my mom was a nurse, and I was at her job, and I was always reading the pamphlets and asking her questions, and she would answer them. So when I was young, I remember saying to my mom, I'm going to wait till I'm married. She's like, good, that's what you do, girl. You wait till you're married. And I really can't say where I got the idea from. I don't remember it being taught to me in church or from my mom. Not that it never had, but I just don't remember it. I just knew that was the right thing to do, and I wanted to do it. But I was always curious. I remained curious, and when I got older, my curiosity got the best of me. But I just felt like after it was such a waste that I gave something so deep and intimate of myself to someone else who didn't deserve it. And I thought it was a complete waste, and I just don't want to keep doing that. Despite how many times I fall in love, despite how well the person treats me, it's just, I don't think it's worth giving that part of myself to another person without marriage. So I wanted to give a few shout outs to people because I put the question on my Facebook page, what people thought about celibacy. And one of the comments is there a reason, from Tara. Hey, Tara Nicole. Yeah, for me, there is a reason. Outside of the fact that it was mandated by God that we stay sexually pure until he brings us to someone. Outside of that fact, yes, I don't want to give my part of myself to that person who doesn't deserve it. So that's my reason. Celibacy for a time, just to quickly clear this up. Just because you don't have sex for 3 months does not make you celibate. It just means you don't have sex for 3 months.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Some people think that, like Arvi, another person who commented on my status, said, "Oh, it's easy when you're not forced to be celibate." And I was like, celibacy is always a choice. It's mandated by God, but he also gives us free will, and the consequences are either there or here. So, but it's always a choice. So, yes, if celibacy is a chosen thing to do, where you abstain from sexual activity until you're married or forever.
No, I like the part that you said when you have sex with someone and you know that this is not going to be like who you're going to be with your future, already in your mind, it what was it you said?
It deteriorates the idea of trust that you had.
Okay.
Yes. So when you're having sex, you form, it releases that chemical feeling of trust and relationship with that person. So when you're no longer with that person, it's like I spoke of last week. It's like putting the two papers together and then ripping them apart. It's like you become torn.
Right.
And that trust in your mind also becomes torn.
And I believe that's why there's a lot of messed up relationships too, because for one, I've learned that when you violate, well, for one, the 10 Commandments is for everyone, regardless if you're Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, New Age, it's off the board. 10 is for everyone. There's a difference when you learn the difference between soulmate and soul tie. Soul tie is pseudo, it's fake. And you end up giving yourself, you got to remember with male and female, he releases inside your body his spirit, which is his sperm. That's part of his spirit. Now, every time you sleep with someone, you're gaining a part of their spirit. And then you end up being so confused and you're knitted, a little bit of knit. But when you lose your virginity to this person, and all women has gone through it, that you are knitted to somehow to that person, and although the male doesn't have that connection, he's not receiving anything from you. He's giving you, and you're receiving. So when it doesn't work and he tosses you to the side, there is a split. And that's an umbilical cord that's being separated and torn. That's why we get that pain, because we get this some type of spiritual pain because it's being separated. Men don't receive, women receive. And each time you sleep with someone, you gain a little bit of their spirit. Now, we're talking about spiritually. We're not talking about STDs and all that other stuff that comes along with it when you're promiscuous or when you end up not following the rule. You don't have to be promiscuous to end up getting sick. But you can end up getting sick for not following the basic rule.
And that's what actually the book that I mentioned, I tried to find it today and I still couldn't find it. But he said that celibacy is God's only plan. Anything outside of that, you're on your own.
Right.
So if you're not sticking to, celibacy is 100%, way to stay away from pregnancy and diseases.
And all that other stuff too. And we're not talking about just intercourse, people. We're talking about everything in dealing with sex, because the young people think that just
Sex is
because you're
everything.
not having, that you're not having intercourse, you're good. But no, you can have oral sex and get sick.
And that's also
And that's something a lot of young people think that, okay, I'm not having vaginal sex, but I'm having oral sex and think that they're safe. No, it's not safe. It's not safe. It's still that person giving you something that, and you're crossing the boundaries. And when you cross the boundaries, and that's why there's a difference between a soulmate is the one that God has ordained for you, and a soul tie is someone that just came into your life and took something from you that was really meant for somebody else. Somebody else.
and that's what God calls us for, is not to just abstain from the act of sex. It's to remain pure. So anything that could lead on to sex or cause that lust to increase with you and your partner or partners, because it's 2016, it's tell it like it is. That's also, you're committing adultery. He calls for us to be in pure in a way that is above human standards. For example, me thinking about having sex with somebody else other than my husband is adultery. Am I doing it? No, but just the thought, I've already committed adultery in my heart. God's standards are higher than our own. And I think as humans, we have our own standards. We set our own standards and we say what's okay for us.
And then when we make the big boo-boo, if you go back and find out, we were warned not to do this because there is a penalty for the choices that we make. No matter what it is, there's repercussions from the poor choices that we make. And a lot of these young girls and women basically give themselves to these men, and then they get hooked to them. And then it's just the way it is that men don't have that type of tie to us because they, according to spiritually, they're injecting their spirit in us. And that's why we have that tie to them.
Yeah, but they can get tied too. That's why some of them go crazy. That's why they be fighting over girls. That's why some of them go obsessive and try to kill their girlfriends and ex-girlfriends. That's why this man killed his ex-girlfriend and her boyfriend just not 2 weeks ago. They get it too. And
But I don't think when it comes to that, I just personally, I don't think so. A lot of that right there has a lot to do of having a controlled spirit because they feel that they own you. And if they don't want anybody else to have, that's just a selfish move. But spiritually, God says that his spirit comes into you and you become one. So,
and this is not just for the women. This is a mandate God has set for women and men. It's for everyone. Guys, you are special just as much as the girls.
yes.
You are just as special.
Right.
You shouldn't let any girl climb up on top of you neither, because you don't know where they've been. And again, I use this example, and y'all let me know if it's a bad example or not. If you have a newborn child, you don't let anybody come off the street with dirty hands and touch your child, do you?
No.
So why would you let anybody come inside you like that? You are special. That's why I get so sickened when I see these boys with pants hanging off their behind as cold as it was today. Guy with jeans hanging around your thighs. What is wrong with you? You don't respect yourself. You are worth more than showing your behind on the street. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to deal with these sexual urges that we have, and one of the ways that many people a day deal with one of these sexual urges.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we all go through that. We all go through it. But on that note, we'll be right back with Rated M with Tawana and Keeping It Real. Don't go anywhere. Rated M.
segment is sponsored by Spotless Car Care, auto detailing by hand, located at 194 Hargreaves Ave, Teaneck, New Jersey 07666. For appointment, contact Nikki O'Hannah. Oh, I'm going too fast, y'all. 201-962-2139. This segment is also sponsored by Neat and Clean Cleaning Services. We will make gray clouds turn into sunshine. For their services, call 551-404-4549. Tell them you heard it here on this ad on Rated M on GS Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Rated M, and I am your host, TR. Now, what we have coming up next is Keeping It Real with Tawana, and she's going to talk about the nerve of inconsiderate people.
I can't stand them. I can't. This is the most inconsiderate thing I hate with people, when they ask you for a ride to pick them up and you have to wait outside.
Ooh, wait.
For them. For them. I mean, you call them, you told them you're on the way. You call them, you tell them to come down, be ready. And when you get there, you still have to wait. I'm just trying to understand what kind of inconsiderate people is that. Even people who want to borrow your car, they don't put gas in your car. You got to have gas in your car in order for them to ride. What kind of crap is that? People want to borrow money. You got to bring them the money that they want to borrow. What kind? I just want to know, what kind of mess is that? Have y'all ever experienced anything like that?
I have someone I love dearly. I'm not going to mention her name because when she go to watch this, she's going to be screaming and laughing. And she used to say I was a bee. Mm-hmm. You know, and we all worked. My sister, her, and we all worked at the same place. Mm-hmm. She lived in East Orange. I lived in Patterson. I will have to leave extra early. Mm-hmm. We all got to be to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. My sister lived next door to her. At one time, they were living in the same building in East Orange. So my sister Yvette used to bring her too. But when my sister ended up in the hospital and was on disability for a little while because she had surgery, I was appointed to bring her to work too. Mm-hmm. I will call her when I'm leaving. I will have to leave early, deal with that parkway, going south, which is very heavy in the morning. Mm-hmm. Get off at exit 145 in East Orange, get around, try to find a little space to park the car. Mm-hmm. So I could hide in there and wait for her. And I will call her and let her know I'm on my way, which from Patterson to East Orange could take about 20 minutes to a half hour, right? Mm-hmm. Even if she just jumped up out of bed and just got her clothes on right there. Now I'm downstairs waiting for her. And then when she comes out with the boo-boo face and all angry like I did something wrong. Now I'm pitching a boogie-woogie. And she's saying, I'm such a bee, and my sister wouldn't do this and wouldn't do that. And I told her, I said, I'm going to leave you. I said, because I take a chance. Maybe it's okay where your supervisor allows you to be late. But my supervisor doesn't allow that.
Right.
And we'd be good thing we didn't have a punch clock. Mm-hmm. Be just making it in the seat. I'd be beating it up in there, and I would be furious. So now I'm all flustered because I have to be to work at least 15 or 20 minutes prior because I'm not one of those people that go in there, got to go to the bathroom, got to get your coffee, and you're supposed to be at your desk working. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of those. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that gets situated, get everything together. So when I sit down at 7 o'clock, and I turn my computer on and start hitting the phone for it to come on and start doing what I got to do, I'm ready to work. I can't flow no other way.
And I'm okay with people being, a few minutes. Because sometimes you get there, you might want to change your shirt. You might want to, I don't know. But sometimes people actually have you sitting there, like, waiting, though. Mm-hmm. Like, literally waiting for them to, like, come out. And then you even got people that you give jobs to do to make money, and you still gotta wait for them when you about to put money in their pocket. It's just like,
But what about the reverse side? I don't like when people call me and say, oh, I'm 5 minutes away, and then I got to stand outside for 20, 30 minutes.
yeah,
I
same
don't
thing.
like, I think that's ignorant.
I
too.
do
I'm
that
like, don't do
sometime.
that to me, because then that makes me want to stay upstairs even longer. I used to be one of those people, I'm working on not making people wait, because it's just really rude. People don't like that, But don't call me and say
No,
you
but-
5 minutes away when you're not.
That's
No,
not
But
rude. That's not
if you
rude.
make them wait in the past, I think it's a safety for them to be like, okay, let me give them extra time. So maybe if I tell them I'm 5 minutes,
I was about to say that.
because last time I waited 20 minutes for her, then she'll be downstairs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more because they were burned in the
Right.
past, not because
That's what I was gonna
I'm
say.
just talking about people who just do that in general.
No,
they
'cause
want you to
sometime-
be there
When it
they
comes
get
to work,
there.
that's usually not the case. You know, it's usually a routine and a time you keep the same routine all the time. And then I will leave, pick up her nephew. I will have to wait for him, and he will get in my car and not even say good morning. And I will pick him up in front of his door, drop him off in front of his door, and he wouldn't even say thank you.
Yeah, what kind of people is that too? That you
Rude
know,
people.
when you're coming in or you see someone, and even sometimes on a
And
bus,
this must work.
even sometimes on a bus in the morning with my kids, I'm like, "Good morning." They just go sit down. I'm just like, nobody mother really teach them how to just say
Well,
good
do
morning.
do you call those people out? Like, did you say something to them?
Oh, yeah,
I
that's why
mean-
she called me a bitch. A B.
I mean, in this day of time, Ruth, you can say stuff to people. It doesn't matter. It just go through one ear and out the other.
And you know what she told me? Yvette wouldn't do this to me. You're such a B. Yvette wouldn't do this to me. And I told you, all right, well, that's Yvette. I'm not
what
Yvette.
what did she say she was doing all of that time? Because I be wanting to know what.
You know what she was doing? When I called her, it gave her enough time. I know she was just getting up out of bed when I called her. And then she's slow.
But then this is for people who need the transportation. I could see if you didn't need the transportation and you just say
She
you should
needed
be
the
up.
yeah, she needed the transportation. And one time I left her. And it took her 3.5 hours to get to work.
So I want to know which
Three
part
and a half hours to get to work.
which part are you considering the most inconsiderate of her? The part that knowing she needs the ride and you're giving her the ride, or the part that sitting outside waiting when she knows she needs
I'm
the ride?
sorry, all of it.
Yeah.
To me, all of it. It ain't one or the other. It's all of it. I have to leave extra early in the morning to come get you. We're talking about a half hour. You know, it's like not me keep going, because I worked in Woodbridge. Patterson to Woodbridge is a ride. I would get off the exit at 145 in East Orange, have to sit outside with her, and I'm constantly nervous looking at the clock. By the time I get to work, I'm all flustered.
Now, did she change after you left her at one time?
They don't change.
Well, then you stop dealing with them.
I know that's Ruth.
My
See,
cousin had to do that to me.
You know what it is too. In this world, people like you, Ruth, you may not deal with people that you come across with.
No, let me tell you what I set standards, and then you'll know what's expected. And if you don't deliver, then okay, I don't have to deal with. You know what I mean? But
Right, but when you a people's person like me and TR, we deal with
trying to
some of
say I'm
every.
not a-
And
No,
she
no,
was
no.
and she's our best friend. And it's like, dang, I didn't want her to
What
lose
kind
her
of- What kind of
job.
friend are you when you put me in this position? You're not really my friend. Then I'm sorry.
Yeah, I let it go. My cousin did that to me. We got cable after we didn't have cable for a while. I was in middle school. I lived 2 blocks away from my middle school. I was late every day. My cousin said, I can't walk to school with you no more because my mother said I can't be late. I was still late, though, because I was watching MTV. But, you know, sometimes you just got to leave people where you're at.
But
And you
see,
just
that's
gotta
what I'm
love 'em
saying.
from over there.
You
That's
watching
all.
MTV when you know I can
supposed to be at school,
Right, I can
yeah.
see if it's a situation something came up when you running late and you got somebody downstairs. But when
Every
you,
day.
right? But when you really knowing you just there watching MTV and somebody is waiting for you, that's so inconsiderate.
But not only that, we would get off at 3:30. I had to pick up my little sugar booger, my granddaughter. I couldn't be there no later than 6 o'clock at
Or
the
you gonna get the
nursery.
late fee.
You get the late fee. I'm outside no later than 3:45, heating up the car, and she ain't even out the door yet.
I'm done.
And I tell her, I got to pick up my baby. And I did leave her one time, and she was so upset because she didn't have money to come home, and she had to borrow money to come home, and it took her forever because she had to get someone to bring her to the train station, which was pretty far in Woodbridge, okay, from where we worked at, and then get on the train, and then from the train in Newark to get to home.
But people know that they have these issues. So when you know that you're one of those people that have that just take your time issues, I mean, don't even ask somebody for your transportation. Start saving up, get you bus tickets, and get where you need to get to. Now, if you somebody that, you know, you're going to be on time and, you know, come out at a decent time when you're supposed to be there, then that's fine. But when you know you just want to watch MTV and do stuff like that, don't even add your cousin.
Because you know what, with her, she will have, from being in East Orange, she will have to be able to take a bus, and I don't know how many buses.
And you was coming from
to,
Patterson?
Right, to go to Newark. And then from Newark, go to the Woodbridge train station. And then there's no bus that early in the morning, because some of those towns, you know, don't have buses that run like that. She will have to take a cab all the way to work. Where all she had to do, and by that time, I'm at work chilling, doing, and she coming in. Yeah, you had to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning or earlier to get to where it's at, and all you had to be was ready at 6. At 6 downstairs. At 6 downstairs, and you had to leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and hopefully you would get to work on time. But what she had was internet. And she would stay up all night on internet.
And did not want to get up in the morning?
Yeah. Talking about, I can't sleep at night. That's a lie. You could sleep at night. You just chose to be on the internet
And
at
know
night
she can make you wait.
and make me wait. And then she would get in trouble at work because she would be typing, and all of a sudden, and you see Z all the way across. And I know if she's listening, I'm going to really tag her on this so she could call me up and probably call me all kind of names and laugh. But on that note,
I'm sorry.
we'll be right back. We're Rated M, and my subject is bikini waxing. So we'll be right back. Rated M.
This segment is sponsored by Infinite Sounds DJs. DJs for all locations, located at 70 Spruce Street, Paterson, New Jersey, 3rd floor. For booking, call 201-362-7611 or send an email to gswkdr@gmail.com. This segment is sponsored by TR Broadcast Media, located at 70 Spruce Street, Building 8, Suite 18, Paterson, New Jersey. For their services, call 862-217-443 or email trbroadcastmedia@gmail.com. Tell them you heard it first here.
Hey there, I'm TR, and you're listening to Rated M for Mature. Now, my subject, ladies, is bikini waxing. The dangers of waxing and their health risk. Summertime is coming soon. It'll be here before you know it. And a lot of people basically like bikini waxing, how their underarms, their groin part, their butt, their legs, but in certain sensitive areas, that can cause a serious problem. And as for one, I know we talked about certain things last time. No, about a month or so ago, in reference to waxing the vagina. Well, the bikini waxing is something that can cause a problem too. And the problem is that, believe it or not, bikini waxing, you can get sexual transmitted disease.
Really?
Yes, you can get it. It's called molluscum. It's called molluscum contagiosum, something like that. I don't know. She's good at maybe breaking down. What do you call that word?
Molluscum contagiosum.
I was close. That's crazy, right? That's what it is. And it says of 30 patients, 6 women and 24 men visit their clinic with this sexual transmitted disease. Yep. And what it does is removes the pubic hair, either through, you could do it through shaving, clipping too close, or waxing. And it causes a severe skin conditions such as warts or bacterial infection, even staph infection.
Wait a minute. So how does that actually happen with the STDs? Like, because you have to have some contact with wherever the STD is.
Right.
So are these things not being cleaned properly?
Sometimes, like when you go to wax, and it's something that kind of threw me off because I don't get waxed in those parts, but I get my eyebrows waxed. Lately, I've been plucking them. Now, if you go to a place that's really not up on hygiene, and I've been YouTubing a lot of stuff because I'm gonna be involved in a spa here, and I'm gonna be kind of managing it and whatnot. That when they have the hot wax, and you know they have the stick, if they put it in that area and they take that stick and stick it back in there, now that bacteria is in that wax.
Right.
Okay, and if they do it and they wipe it on you and throw it away, that's one thing. But when you tear out the follicles, you know that there's like fluids that come from out of that area. And if you have a sexual transmitted disease, and you can either transmit it into that wax, that person's not wearing gloves and they have a cut, they can get sick. And if you have sexual relations, that person can get sick.
Because
as far
your skin
as
is open, right?
your skin is open, and any open wound, you can get it. Even if you're just fooling around and you're not having intercourse, you can get a sexual transmitted disease. There's a reason why pubic hair is there. And to keep the skin from running together and to act as a cushion during sexual contact. So when this hair is pulled out, you have open wounds. I know that I have facial hair around my chin. I'm at that age where our hormones get crazy, and I'm always up in the mirror pulling out. And sometimes it's so thick, when I pull it, you can actually hear it go boom. You know, you can hear it. You ever pluck your eyebrow and you can actually hear the hair remove? You can hear it come out. Well, sometimes I get a hair that's so deep in the follicle that when it's pulled out, it leaves a hole. Now, that's fluid that comes up out of there. And then if you're the hair starts to grow. So now that hair follicle that's been open, now a scab got to get over it. And then that hair inside it is trying to come out. So then now it goes back in the skin and it causes like an abscess, ingrown hair, and a severe abscess, which can cause a deep infection, and it causes a blood issue, or you could end up with impetigo and a staph infection. Staph infection is stuff that just gets infected and it gets in your blood system. And also the hair is to kind of keep an airflow, which I don't understand, but it says that they are also there to maintain a bit of airflow and keep folded skin areas from sticking together and causing rashes, infections known as impetigo. Also, waxing can cause damage to the skin. So when they wax and they put that hot, it's not supposed to be hot, it's supposed to be warm. But sometimes I know when they put it on my arm, I'm like, woo, 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 and they go, ooh, sorry, lady, sorry, lady. And or even when they do it and they blow on it to cool it off, there are germs from them blowing on it. And then it goes on you. You see what I'm saying? And they do this for your eyes, and they do any type of waxing. This is what I've seen them do, and they do it with me all the time. She takes it, she puts it in there, and it's too hot, mommy. Now, whatever germs that she has, she contaminated the wax. And how many people in that big old pot that she's sticking the same stick in and putting it on?
I wonder why they don't change the stick.
They're supposed to. That's the thing. They're supposed to.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder why
They're supposed to change it on everyone, regardless of what it is. Once they dip it in and it touches your skin, they're not supposed to put it back on you. They're supposed to throw it away.
And they're also not supposed to wax the same spot because your skin might rip off.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When you do waxing, the first layer of your skin comes off. It literally comes off, your first top layer of your skin. You have like 7 layers. So the top layer always comes off, and it hits a nerve. That's why certain spots hurt more. Like on top of the eyebrows don't hurt, but underneath the eyebrows where all the nerves are hurt. And your groin, those are nothing but nerves around there. And usually when they do and they rip it, they have to hit it like that to stop the nerve from responding to that being ripped out. And waxing is, everybody who's had it done, it's painful. Regardless if it's underneath your arm, your face, the mustache, whatever, it's painful. But if you're going to do it, YouTube it and learn to do it yourself. So that way you're not contaminating anything but you. Yeah. And it's also known that you can get, let's see, it says this can be anything from being contaminated from obvious cuts all the way to microscopic torn follicle roots that aren't visible on the surface. However, you can get herpes, HPV, which is genital warts, and possibility cervical cancer, HIV, and other ST infections, which is transmitted, sexual transmitted, not transmitted disease, but sexual transmitted infections also have increased with the skin trauma. And I got that on the, if you Google it, it was the medical doctors information, and it was like, wow. So I'm learning too a lot of these things I didn't already know, that every night I go and I just search for dangers, beauty dangers, and the list is unbelievable. It's just that it's just so much. I just try to pick out at the time what is the latest trend and what's going on here. But what we do for beauty is really that we're opening up ourselves to die. We put ourselves at a lot of risk, regardless if it's booty injections and getting someone that goes to Home Depot and gets the stuff to inject in you. The silicone, they're getting Home Depot silicone for real.
Really?
Yes, and injecting it in the body. Yes, they are. To the part where it looks all right for a while, but then their skin and their flesh starts falling off and they're losing limbs.
Dying.
And yes, and dying. Yes. The price that we pay for beauty, even down to getting a perm for your hair. That now they're finding out that perms can actually cause you, some perms, to have cancer. That stuff goes into your skin. Your skin breathes that in. So hair dyes. If you're pregnant, they tell you don't color your hair. Because of those chemicals read through your blood system, and that goes to your unborn child. There's a lot of things that we do that we just say, oh, it's all right, and it's not. It's just not okay. And I'm like, dang, what we do for beauty and what we push aside natural. We push aside natural. So next week, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about deodorants, the beauty that we want, comfortableness in deodorants, but what it can cause as far as your lymph nodes, and you open yourself up to cancer with deodorant. The deodorant that I'm sure you women are using right now that can leave you open to cancer.
Wow.
So we'll be right back, Rated M, and our topic is deadbeat moms. So listen out for the number. I'm gonna call it when we get back, and hopefully you'll call in and give us your opinion. We'll be right back, Rated M. Welcome back to Rated M. I am your host, TR. Telephone number to call in is 973-460-8931. 973-460-8931. Now, the topic is deadbeat moms. So call in and give us your opinion on them. Okay, deadbeat moms. You don't hear much about it, but now, because women are, more or less put it this way, guys are raising their children now, that now the women have to give child support. So that's what we're talking about, the deadbeat moms regarding child support. Not just deadbeat moms as far as being a mom. All right. But we're going to include that. But basically, I'm talking about deadbeat moms as far as child support, where it's flipped. You know, you say deadbeat dad, you automatically, you think, oh, he's not paying. Well, there are deadbeat moms, too, where their children was taken away from them. And because they weren't responsible, and the father is raising them. And now the mother has to give child support. So, Ruth Danessa, what do you think about deadbeat moms?
Well, I think we wanted equality, so now we're being treated equal. So I do agree with mothers having to provide for the children if they brought them to the world, even if they're not living with them. I do totally agree with that. I think that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's just like men get their license taken away from them and their paycheck deducted directly from their paycheck. I think it should be the same thing with the mother, because at the end of the day, there is a child that has needs that needs to be tended to. So if you can't have kids, or if you can't afford kids, or if you don't want kids, don't bring them in the world. But there's consequences, and it shouldn't be the kid paying for it because they didn't ask to be here.
Anissa?
I agree 100%. And this is one of the drawbacks from not being celibate. I'm serious. It happened, like you say, you're irresponsible, whatever the case, whatever the situation. Now there is a kid. Like you said, they didn't ask to be here. You have a responsibility for this child's life. How selfish, how ignorant of you to bring a whole nother being into this world and not care for it. Are you serious? You need to step up or keep your legs closed. Or keep it in your pants. It's ridiculous. Like, this is the world now. It's ridiculous.
It's something that is so common that it's like no big thing.
I was surprised, actually, when I found out that women were being held for child support, because you're used to hearing about the deadbeat dad. That used to be the norm. My mom was a single parent. So when I was like, oh, really? This is what's happening now. Even so, it doesn't change. You really need to be responsible with your body. And now you're responsible for this other life as well. So step up.
Well, I agree. I think women should pay child support if the father is taking care of the child. But I think on a lot of situations out here nowadays, with a lot of moms that has became deadbeat moms, it's because I think they have been dealing with so much trying to be a mom. And, I guess because the father I just think the struggle is harder on a mom than it is a father, to me.
I don't understand.
Like, I think because women, it's easier for a man to just get away with anything as far as being a father than it is.
Because that's what society does.
Right.
Men get away with everything. The woman, is the whore. The guy gets the brownie points. Everything falls on her.
Right. So I'm kind of thinking that I know there is some deadbeat mothers, but I think a lot of deadbeat mothers come from not having that stability with, having a father help out with them with raising some of these kids, because a lot of these mothers, they have so many, children to raise by themselves. I'm not saying that, the mother should not have had these children. Because
she shouldn't have. If she couldn't take care of them, she shouldn't have.
If you can't read the baby, then
but what about the
ones
that had the baby and was in relationship with these men and they had these children, and then later on, they weren't able to maintain the
So
the
they
kids.
have to work something out. If the man can take care of the child and the mother can't, then that's okay. That's okay. But you still have to contribute something, even if it's not your money. It should be your time. It is your
Yeah, I
child.
agree. I agree
I
on
know
that.
someone who's a mother who the father has. She has 3 children, and she has 2 living with her, and 1 living with the father, different fathers, and she's in child support, and she's like behind, and she goes to Atlantic City once a week. So, you can't pay child support, but you go into Atlantic City. So it does happen with women too, I think. And now maybe, I don't know if we don't hear about it as often, or it doesn't happen as often because we have that nurturing, but it does happen.
Oh, definitely. It definitely happens. You get those that sit back and they figure, oh, let go with your father, and they go with their father, and he'll say, okay, I'm taking you to court now
And they should.
for child support. So the tables are flipped. But I also know that,
So do you think it's more fathers that's really out here raising these kids than the mothers?
I think it's more now, because I'm hearing about it more now. I hear about
I'm
it from
hearing,
women.
I don't think it's more men that are doing it, but you just hear about it a little more than what it was before. Before it was
'Cause I hear
like,
more the grandparents taking care of the kids.
I
now.
know, it's like mama's baby, papa maybe type attitude. And a lot of times, like, you have this baby and you think they're with the daddy, but they got dropped off at grandma's house.
Right.
And grandma and grandpa, or just grandma, is taking care of them. I'm not talking about, and that happens more than anything else than deadbeat moms. But I'm talking about the deadbeat moms that are running the street, not doing the right thing, and instead of them going into a foster home, they go to the dad, or they go to the grandma. It doesn't have to even be the dad that's watching. It could be grandma, and she has to give child support to the grandma to take care of them.
Yeah, I agree.
But my daughter, she wasn't a deadbeat mom. I raised my grandchildren, but she also took care of them. Nothing came out of my pocket other than the nurturing in my time.
Right.
But she clothed them. She made sure there was food. She did the food shopping. And they all live with me, and she still does it. Nothing's changed. She still does it. And we got one going on 24 and one guy's going on 17. And believe it or not, my daughter still does. It's like she hasn't stopped. We're trying to get them where you need to back off a little bit so they could be responsible young ladies. But I guess she seen me how I raised her. And I was always up on my game in raising her. And then when she had her 2 children, that's what she did.
You already set the bar.
And that's the thing. These children don't have the role model. They're living with their father, or they're living with their grandparents, and they don't have the role model. And there's so many broken adults out there because they start like this, because they weren't wanted. Because they weren't wanted, or they have this hang up, and they grow up to be broken adults.
Exactly. And you took the words right out of my mouth. Like I almost have nothing else to say after that. Because it's the bar you're set for your daughter is what she imitates, is what she does now. When you don't take care of your kids, you're setting the bar for them. It just trickles on down. They're not going to take care of their kids or provide enough love and attention for their kids, if they have any, or even self-respect for themselves, because they're going to feel so worthless from that. Like, think of what you're setting after you. People don't think about that these days.
On that note, we're going to just take a break. We're going to have the lines. They're still open, 973-460-8931, 973-460-8931. We'll be right back, and hopefully you'll be brave enough to call in and give me your opinion. Rated M. Welcome back to Rated M. I am your host, TR. Okay, the lines are still opening. Nobody's calling. Come on. 973-460-8931. 973-460-8931. Topic is deadbeat moms and regarding child support. That's what we want, your opinion and how you feel about it. Now, getting back to the subject that we were talking about with deadbeat moms, you are definitely hearing more about it today because I think it has a lot to do with a lot more younger people are having babies and not knowing how to be responsible. They have this butterfly, carefree type attitude. And when I say young, I'm talking about young as far as, I say between the ages of 25 and 35. When I was coming up, it was like you were shamed if you didn't take care of your kids, male or female. If you didn't take care, if your kids went to school with dirty clothes and a snotty nose and hair not combed, they looked at the mama. And if mama looked raggedy and your kids look raggedy, then they looked at daddy that he ain't supplying like he's supposed to. And it was just something that just wasn't heard of when I was coming up. It was just something that was not heard of.
And in our generation, we was excited to have kids. So we wanted to be mommy and, and make sure they was dressed nice and, do everything for them. Now it seems like the generation under my age.
I don't know what my generation doing. I really.
It's about themselves. They want to do them.
Because they're into a lot of materialistic
things.
things. We were into a lot of materialistic things, but not expensive things. It was still things that we can walk downtown and get and just feel comfortable that we had, or we was able to even sometimes shop for our kids to get downtown. Like
And we didn't
Kids
have a
Palace
problem wearing a pair of $7.99 shoes.
Right.
$10 shoes, $15 shoes. That was no big thing.
Even
Matter of fact,
Jordans wasn't a big deal.
I know, and not only that, when we got bargains like that, we told all our friends so they can get get it too. It wasn't like that. But today, everything is so materialistic. So it's like, okay, they'll get their nails, their manicure, their pedicure, their hair done, their nails done, and there's no food in the house.
$500 video game. You see adults playing video games.
Yeah, the fathers do that. They could sit up there and
the
bathe.
hoverboards. You $5 for a hoverboard and you don't have food.
Priority.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the materialistic thing now is more in tune with the younger generation. Even with buying their baby stuff, everything is, the name brand.
The appearance.
The
I
name
think it has
brand.
a lot to do with the internet and being exposed to other people and trying to keep with the Joneses. The Joneses are not next door anymore. You're competing with the Kardashians, and now you want the same clothes or the same shoes that the Kardashians have. So you get exposed to other people and other people's way of life, and you can't afford what the Kardashians are.
Even the strangest things with taking pictures. Do you see it now? The kids, the younger generation, only this is covered and like the whole stomach is out. Like we never even thought to have like pictures taking.
What do you mean? Whoa! I didn't know about that. Pictures? You mean like school pictures?
No, like
just
pictures, like regular
but the kids are
pictures.
younger.
No, I'm saying like when the mom is pregnant, the younger generation now take these pictures.
Oh, yeah,
but the
yeah.
whole stomach is out.
Oh, okay.
And they just have.
But I like that.
You do?
Yeah.
Demi Moore did one when
was
she was
gonna
completely naked.
Back
Yeah,
in the early 90s.
yeah. She got some backlash from it. Yeah, she's butt naked.
I mean, we never thought of it. Even baby showers now, the young teenagers are getting dresses made. Like they're really getting like dressed up, like dialed up for a baby shower. Nobody is just like coming in a regular, maybe a little new outfits. It's more like a fashion show.
I know they're coming in like they're coming almost like they're clubbing and whatnot to a baby shower. And here I come in with sneakers, a pair of sweat, hair and that, and it's like, huh? Yeah, or even if it's just a nice pair of slacks and coming out, but now they're wearing. I mean, they got 6-inch heels on, got all this, got the
Drinks.
Well, you know what? A lot of cultures, they're big on baby showers and they do it like
But I'm
that.
talking about the younger generation, though.
What
I
baby
mean,
showers you be going to?
I haven't been to them, but I see it on the internet. I see these things on the internet. But this is what
no,
goes
but
on.
baby showers are in like your culture. They're big on baby showers. They have like big. It's like a big. It's like, oh God, it's a big thing to welcome a baby, and it's like a big adult thing.
And in my generation, with my age and people that have kids my child age, the same age, maybe 20, 21, this is what they're doing. What I'm saying is baby showers are more like a party. Before, when we used to go to baby showers, you know, you come, you bring your gift, you sit down, you eat, you chit chat. It's now like a party. It's now like a fashion show. It's more than just a baby shower now. It's not just a regular baby shower. Even some of the younger girls that's planning these baby showers, the things that they look forward to have at a baby shower, we never have those kind of things.
I guess it depends on your culture because
Yeah.
the Latino culture does that. They always have that in christenings. Oh my God, is liquor there? Is a big party? Is a big thing. It has a lot to do with the culture.
Yeah, but we didn't. I know when I was coming up and I had my baby, we didn't have baby showers the way they have them now.
Maybe not the African American, but the Latino culture always did
Oh
it
yeah,
that
I
way.
know them, but I'm talking about
Everything's
us.
a party for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is a party for us now.
The last two baby showers I went to were very classy. I don't think there was alcohol even present. A lot of games.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Games. These girls are now wearing prom dresses, like getting dresses made for a baby shower. That's what I'm
But getting
saying.
back to the main subject with the deadbeat mom, she's, you know, some of them are just deadbeats because they're on drugs.
Yeah, well, that's expected if they're on drugs.
Right. And then you got some that are deadbeats because they're just irresponsible and grandma is stepping up, which is her mother.
And some didn't really think of the whole responsibility of having a baby. Some women think having a baby is the cute part. Oh, they're cute, you know, dress them cute, get them little, but they're not thinking about the lifetime. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to schools, and you know, it's just different things as they're growing. I don't think the younger generation is kind of thinking about what comes down the line. They're just thinking about you know, the little cuteness now and not what goes on later.
They don't stay cute forever.
Oh, but them deadbeat moms, and to me, they're just as bad as deadbeat dads. Same concept. You know, the deadbeat dad, he could sit in front of the TV for hours with his buddies playing the games and spend money and drink and stuff like that, or hang out on the corner, but won't give child support. And then you got the deadbeat moms that are hanging with their friends and doing them. Usually when they're deadbeats, seriously, and I'm not talking about those who have drug issues, because then that's like a mental illness. But those that are just because lack of responsibility.
And I think a lot of parents and grandparents enable their children to be responsible for their kids. So
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Let the kids suffer?
no,
I
I'm
mean,
not
that-
saying you're supposed to let the kids suffer, but what I'm saying is a lot of grandparents steps in now with motherhood more than the mother. So you got grandparents that's taking the kids to school, going to school, babysitting
and
the kids.
and praise God for that, because if not, what outlet would the kids have?
Right. But when I was coming up, my grandmother wouldn't do majority of the things that this generation grandmothers are doing
My
now.
mother didn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. It's
My
like
mother
they don't have
didn't do
no
it.
choice.
I made my bed. I had to lie in
Right.
it.
Same thing with me. I made my bed. I had to lie in it. I had to get a job. I had to, whatever I needed to do for my child or my children, I had to, you know, do it. But now it's just like this generation, everybody is handheld, I guess, because the kids are having them so young. So now the grandmother is more of the mother than the actual.
Yeah, because they're having them so young, so then they grow up to be deadbeat moms.
But even you see 19, 20, 25-year-old that they just can't be bothered. They want to travel. They want to be with their boyfriends. They want to be with their friends.
They don't have
and,
patience.
And the kid is just an afterthought, if that. But again, I think that's why we have so many broken adults and teenagers, that they're looking for something because they have no formation, and it's so sad. And it's really scary now because it's almost a norm for poor kids not to have any kind of formation. Even when they do have somebody else, you need your mom.
And we more want to take over, because I would even say my daughter, she'll be 21, and God forbid if she ever was to have a baby. I'm not going to say that she's going to be a deadbeat mom, because I wouldn't allow her. But I know me at my age and who I am, I probably would be more, more of the excitement of her having the baby, as far as wanting to see the best for my grandchild, more pitching in more than what my mother did for me. So I think, too, that kind of, help the younger generations not turn into a deadbeat, but be less responsible for the children. Like I said, Tiara, when you was coming up, the moms like you put your foot down, with your kids, what we couldn't do, and things like that. My generation, with my age, almost 40, is just like, so it's just like we grandma and mommy. But it's sad that now,
because
grandma's
I'm grandma.
your age.
Yeah, I'm grandma and mommy.
It's now going to your age now.
Oh, okay. We got a call coming in. Just a second. You're on the air, caller. State your name and the town you're from. Okay, caller, we lost you. Please call back.
I do believe that women should be held to the same standards as men. If you have a kid, if the kid is living with grandma, grandpa, or the dad or the aunt or whoever, you should be providing for your kid, and there should be some consequences. Even if you don't want to, you shouldn't be lollygagging out there and traveling. You should be held accountable for your action and your children, and provide for them, because they do need.
Now, my son, he lived with his grandparents. He's been living with his grandparents for 3 years now. And the reason for him living with his grandparents was he has those type of grandparents that's just like very into their kids and their grandchildren. And when they lived up here in Patterson, his grandmother was the vice principal at Tech High School, and his grandfather retired. So they bought a house and they moved to South Carolina. But even, I think, too, also because my son was their first grand. So they always was waiting for grandkids. So even when I had my son, they had him like every weekend over there just because they wanted to. Like, this was like a job to them. Like, they was just into, grandparenting like that, to the point we all sat down and we talked about him moving down there for his school, and
because he was being offered something that will be better. My daughter did the same thing when she went to law enforcement school, to the academy rather. And I was like, she's starting to be a teenager, the older one. And I work so far away in Woodbridge, and if something happened, it will take too much for me to get home. So she talked it over with her, with the baby daddy's mama.
Right.
And the school was better than Patterson. So the agreement was for her to go over to Plainfield, because the schools were better for her over there. And they were much better than what it was over here. So that was the reason why she went over there. But my daughter sent money over there. My daughter still took care of her.
Right. And I sent things to my son, clothes, money. But believe it or not, his grandparents don't ask for anything. They don't look for anything. They don't ask for anything. And I have my son the summer, the Christmas holiday, spring, so he comes up. But I was just blessed with like some excellent grandparents.
But Tawana, just thinking about that way back, it was common for a child to go down south and stay with their or with certain cultures, it's like, okay, they're going to go to Puerto Rico and stay with my mom, and I send the money there or whatever, because whatever the living is, that it is better for them. The environment is better for them. And if I had it like that, to even send my grandchildren away, things are coming up in certain towns the way things are now, I would say, you know what, I'd rather send them where it was a slower pace and a safer place, and me doing that. But that's not being a deadbeat mom.
Right.
That's looking for the best for your child, and you're making a sacrifice to be able to do that. We're talking about deadbeat moms just allowing their child just to go so they could be free of the responsibility.
Getting rid of them. It's the
It's the free because they don't want to deal with them.
Yeah, mine
and they
was for
do
a
that.
sacrifice. You know,
Yours
the
was
better
a
yeah.
That's right. That's different, a sacrifice. But when you're letting go, and then a deadbeat father, allowing instead of co-parenting, she's doing it all. That is selfishness.
Right.
Co-parenting is fine.
Because even some of these moms, they don't even go to back to school night. I seen somebody post on Facebook recently because
Well,
they had
it's not easy. I could say that
they
it's
had
not easy
they
doing
had
that.
back to school night, and somebody was posting saying, and they actually was a teacher, and they was saying that, you know, it makes a difference when parents show up to back to school night. So she was basically asking parents, you know, please try to come in tonight, you know, and just sit down and hear what's going on with
I
your
remember
child
when
in
I
school.
used to go all the time, and I was able to go more when I was unemployed because the times that they pick. By the time I got home, normally from work at 6:30, 7 o'clock, it's over with.
Yeah, but that's only like once every 3 months.
It may be once every 3 months, but those who are working, it's not easy to get off of work early enough to do that. You're getting off of work at 5, and you're traveling by bus, and then you got to get home to your other kids to feed them, to do it. It's a strain on some.
I
some
mean, it can be,
parents.
but I think at some point it could be, you know, situated, especially they give out the notice pretty early. And even if you as the parent can't come, you should be able to send someone else to, you know, hear what's
It's not
going
always
on.
like that. If you got kids and you got to get home and you got to pick them up from a babysitter's house, you got to get them home, feed them, and before you know it, 6:30, 7 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, but that's one of the responsibilities of a parent.
Let me say this. The family dynamic has changed to
Right.
the point where there is no family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
There are situations, prices have gone up, things have happened where mommy needs to work more so she can't spend time with her kids. Daddy needs to work more because he needs to make sure the bills are paid. And that takes away from family, yes. But it's not all on life. We are responsible for ourselves.
Right.
We're responsible for each other. When we don't step up and do what we have to do, as I said before, it trickles down. So when you're not taking care of your family, your children see everything. They may not understand it
And
at
they
that
remember.
time, but they remember too. So when they get up, they're gonna be like, "My mom didn't do that," or they're not gonna know because they didn't see it
Right.
or they didn't hear it. So then it comes upon them when they have to make choices. They're gonna make the wrong choices because they don't even understand what it means to make the right choices. So if we want to do better, the individual has to make the choice to do better. I chose to wait for sex because I grew up in a situation. Another reason I grew up in a situation where I didn't want to be in. My father was not present all the time, to the point now where I haven't spoken or seen him in 2 years. I only know he's alive because every once in a while my mother told my child support. That's the only reason I know he's alive. If it wasn't for that, I would have no clue. And I'm making the choice to do something different. So hopefully my situation can be different. I could still get married and get divorced, or my God forbid, my husband could die, or I could still wind up in a situation like my mom. But I'm making the choice to do something different.
Right.
So it's on the individual. It's not just life. If the child, like you were saying earlier, if the parent can't meet the parent-teacher meeting, they can set up a time where they can meet a teacher at another time. Good teachers are willing. My mom was very involved in my academics. She was the Parent-Teacher Association president and vice president. My people knew me because of how I look. I didn't even know who they were. Hey, little Miss Jefferson. Hi. I didn't even know who they were. But they knew who my mother was.
I was scared to get my mother the back to school note. I didn't want her to come to back to school for me.
My mother used to make me and my cousins go to school with a slip to the teacher to make sure that we went to class on time. Each teacher had to sign, and this is high school. We had like 12 periods, so all our teachers had to sign the paper, and we had to bring it back home and show it at night. Step up. Maybe you don't have to send out a paper. We were late a few times. That's how she did that. But step up.
But that's why I was saying I think the teacher was kind of reaching out because it may be a lot of parents haven't been showing up for back to school. But that was like the point she was trying to make. Like, you know, be an example, you know, come in and let your kids know that, you know, you're concerned. Because I guess at some point, sometimes they probably have, you know, different behavior problems with these children when they know that their parent is not going to come in and see what's going on.
I'm going to do whatever.
Yeah,
Just
so
see that he
it
don't
makes
care,
it
she don't care.
harder.
Wow. Okay. Well, guys, we're going to take a break. Oh, listen, take a break. Take a break, and we'll be right back with Rated M. I'm closing out. Welcome back to Rated M. I am your host, TR. Well, that's it for the evening. And I thank you for hanging out with us. And we'll be back next week with Ruth Danessa and her giving us the domestic and international news. Her giving us that 411T that we look forward to. Inisa with Fruitful Living. Tawana, we're keeping it real. Yep. And of course with me, Beauty Awareness. So we thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.